Well, buddy, is this paradise or is this paradise?
This is great, Kronz. Lake Ontario, August, fishing with you. Who could ask for more?
Toronto over my shoulder, Nils Kravis from Montana's and Cara. This is paradise. Listen, stick with us. We're out of Port Credit, actually. That's Toronto, right back here. We're on Wayne Andrews' charter boat, out of Port Credit. We're catching some little Chinook, eh?
Nice fish, Kronz.
Stick with us. We're going fishing.
I'm going fishing all the time, and my baby's going fishing too. Bet your life that your sweet wife can catch more fish than you. Any fish will bite if you got the right bait. Now here's a little something that I'd like to relate. With my pole and my line, I'm going fishing. Yes, I'm going fishing. My baby's going fishing too.
Going Fishing with Darryl Choronzey is brought to you in part by Yamaha, Abu Garcia, Montana's Cookhouse, and Berkeley. Closed captioning for Going Fishing is brought to you by Rapala, the makers of Canada's favorite fillet knives. Who says you have to travel far from your own backyard to experience world-class sport fishing? Today, Darryl Choronzey and good friend Nils Kravis join Lake Ontario charter boat skipper Wayne Andrews for a morning's outing just out from the town of Port Credit, Ontario. Lake Ontario is one fishing hole chock full of game fish. In fact, if truth be known, it's one big lake that boasts some of the finest big water trolling found anywhere in Canada. So stay with us as the boys go trolling Great Lakes style.
Good size, Mr. Kravis.
I don't know, Kronzey, but it's a fish. It's a good thing.
Took off on that dipsy, eh?
It hit it hard.
Really hard. I thought it was going to just take the end of that rod right off. You know, it's kind of hard not to catch fish. You know, think of this. You got Toronto skyline in your background, right? You've got 6 downriggers across the back. The fish have to hit sooner or later. You know, a lot of people don't even know this exists out here from Toronto.
I know. I mean, we've lived here for years. This is the first time we've been on this part of the lake.
Yeah. Look at him here. Yeah. There's a good-sized fish, Nils.
It's the first one.
Yeah, it's the first of many, maybe, eh?
Let's hope so.
You know what? Nice-looking fish. See what you got, Nils? Nice fish, Nils. Rainbow, Nils. Nice fish. Not bad, Mr. Kravis, eh?
Good start.
Nice steelhead, eh?
Yeah.
Chunky, too, eh?
Perfect.
What do you think, buddy?
It's a good way to spend the morning.
Nice fish, Nils.
Nuts.
You know, go 10, 11 pounds. Not bad. And again, people don't realize this. I would say we're probably 6 miles, maybe 8 miles off of Port Credit, right? But
Great
you got
view of the shoreline.
Hey, you got the Toronto shoreline, right? And there's not a lot of boats out here today.
No.
The end of August, paradise in Ontario. I'm gonna put him in the cooler. Well, he said 400 feet.
Second fish, but a long way back.
That guy walloped it, Nils.
On the lake part.
Yeah. Now you tell me, where can you go with a city that big and phenomenal fishing, eh? Now, they're running lead core, right? They're running downriggers. They're running dipsies. In the old days, it was all downriggers, you know, and they're really changing.
Last couple of years, it's all changed.
Changing methods. You're not kidding.
The first one was on a dipsy. It's good to see they're hitting both.
They're hitting everything. And again, Nils, it's world-class fishing. We're 5 to 10 miles out from downtown Toronto, and a lot of people don't know this exists.
I mean, it's an escape to simpler times, just like Montana's, Kronzey.
I knew you were going to get Montana's in there.
You got to get Montana. You've been to Montana's. You know Montana's. But you're half, you know, as you said, it's 5 miles out, Lake Ontario. You've got Toronto skyline in the background. You can take a half day, a full day, come out here with the charter boat like Wayne Andrews here. It's a great way to spend the afternoon.
And you know what, Nelson, this is disturbing to me. There are still thousands of people in that city that don't know this fishery exists.
lot of people think that the fish aren't edible here, but the ones we've caught are going back to the table.
They're going to the table, all right.
You're only 215 feet
Thanks.
to go, Darryl.
He's got this color-coded line. You know, they get fish out here. This year, the Toronto Sun Derby's on. I used to like it better when it was called the Toronto Star Derby, but the Toronto Sun Derby's on here, and the top 10 fish every week are over 30 pounds, so that's saying something. A lot of big fish out here.
It's surprising the last week of the Derby and there's not that many boats out here.
No. Well, we got a good roll today, you know. It's a good thing we're on a big boat, that's all. Dynamite fishing, Nils, on Lake Ontario, eh? The last of the really good Great Lakes fishing. Like, we got problems up in Georgian Bay with our bait populations. They got problems in Michigan and Huron. But this old lake is still holding up.
And they're saying, Kronz, that this is one of the best years they've had in the last few.
Yeah, it was starting to slip a little bit, and now it's come right back.
Now, what are they doing differently?
Well, you want me to get into this? I don't think our government's doing much.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't
These
think...
ones are coming from the south border.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources has done a terrible job of stocking fish the last 10 years. They're stocking them off break walls. They should be putting them way up the river so they imprint. These are mostly American fish out here.
It's taking a little bit longer than mine did, Kronz.
Well, you know, here's the deal, Nils. Captain Wayne here's got 7 downriggers, right? So he's got all the rods out. We're allowed 2 rods per person, so he can put 8 rods out, right? And you've got the rods out. He can't really cut this boat back, you know. So we're still trolling and fighting fish at the same time. That's the only thing with these charter boats. They don't want to put it in neutral.
We'd have to take up all the rods.
Yeah, he's coming up.
Here he comes.
Get to the surface, and then the swell comes and he's back down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big fish.
All over the edge.
Nice fish.
It's a gorgeous fish.
There we go.
One more.
Yeah, I am, Wayne. We get him in there?
Yeah.
Nice fish, eh?
Beautiful.
Guys, I'll tell you,
It's a gorgeous
isn't that a
fish.
dandy fish? It's so good looking, it's got to be an American fish. Oh, I'm gonna quit. Leave the government alone, right? Is that a big fish or what?
It's a dandy.
Wayne, how big you figure?
30.
No ticket in the sun. You told me not to get a ticket.
You're entered. You're automatically entered here.
Nice
We'll
fish.
put that in and see what happens.
Nice fish.
God, you'd hate to win something.
Dandy fish. Buddy,
Great fish, Kronz.
hey?
Perfect morning.
You know what? Are we gonna go back to Montana's for shore lunch?
Shore lunch?
Shore lunch?
I don't know that we're going to cook that up, but
We won't have salmon, but we'll have whatever on the menu for fish, hey? What do you think?
perfect.
Again, take a look. What's over there? That's downtown Toronto. We're coming out of Port Credit with Captain Wayne Andrews, me and Nils Kravis. Does anything get any nicer?
Fish like that, that's what it's all about.
You tell people that this fishery exists out here and they don't believe you sometimes.
Well, I've seen it, now I believe it, Kronz.
It's a dandy.
That is a dandy on the lead cord, too.
Let's get you one now and we're out of here.
That's a plan.
Okay.
And now, the Campfire comment.
Don't you go to BC once a year or so, don't you?
I go out to BC as many times as I can.
So what's the fishing like out there? What's different, or how's it the same or different than here?
It's better. I honestly think that British Columbia's got the best fishing anywhere in Canada. Overall, I mean, I'd always rate BC the best.
Is that right?
It's that good. You know, it's got its problems. It's not immune to problems at all. Again, and I don't want to go on this, but some of those biologists aren't really thinking. I mean, and it's the honest truth. I'll give you an example. Dennis was with me sturgeon fishing 2 years ago on the Fraser. And while we were there, the chum salmon were coming in. And we were down around Mission. And these gravel beds are just thick in the river. The water's only, in some places, the gravel's coming out of the water. But, you know, you're talking 2 feet deep. The river's laced with gravel. And we saw the chum salmon spawning there, right?
Yeah.
We no sooner get off the boat. Remember we were pulling the boat out of the water, and I was talking to one of the fisheries people, and they were doing studies, and it came up, they're gonna take gravel out of the Fraser River. There's flooding in the Fraser, right? You remember that? And they're talking, I forget whether it was, you know, so many million tons of gravel out of the river, and I'm going, wait a minute, why? Well, there's flooding. Yeah, but well, the fish have to spawn in that gravel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, gravel's there. Gravel's like a nest.
Yeah.
And you don't take gravel out. And now that's 3 or 4 years ago, they're taking the gravel out, and they're all of a sudden they're going, uh-oh, we made a mistake. Okay. You know, and they've got problems. They've got problems with overfishing on the commercial fishery. They've got some native problems, like there's no two ways about it. And they've got some fish rearing problems, you know, with the commercial fish farms.
Yeah.
But the main thing is, leave nature alone. If you're gonna do anything with nature, improve it, protect it.
Don't wreck it.
Going Fishing returns with more port credits, salmon fishing.
Louis Milo, the Credit River Anglers Association.
Finally meet you, Darryl.
Oh, nice meeting you. Listen, I'm impressed with what you guys are doing. You got the Credit River Anglers Association, right? We got Mr. Kendall back behind us, and he's playing with some steelhead.
That's right.
Right? Steelhead fry.
That's right.
He's also got some Atlantic fry in here.
That's right.
Now, these guys are down on the Credit River, and it's kind of amazing what they've done for a small club. How much money have you spent on the Credit so far?
Probably a little over $3 million to date. I think that's more than pretty well any other club on Lake Ontario focused on cold water fisheries.
Mostly from grants?
Mostly from grants, private donations, fundraising, community groups, so on and so forth. A lot of it's come out of our own pockets.
Why are you guys doing this? And I think this is really important, and this is what kind of scares me about this increase in volunteer clubs. Why are you guys doing this on the Credit?
Listen, we've spent, as I say, millions of dollars on repairing this river. We've got a river now that should support, you know, upwards of 20,000 fish. Ultimately, because of cutbacks and funding shortfalls within the government, we now have to do this so that we can ensure that there are fish in the river.
Now, today we are going to be talking not just about the Credit River, but I am going to show some stuff on British Columbia. British Columbia, it's more to improve access, clean up the gravel beds. There's a lot of money from the feds going into British Columbia, and their province is doing a lot. In Ontario, and this is what scares me, I love clubs like this. I really love the volunteer clubs and the old CFIP program, the Community Fisheries Involvement Program. And I was one of the original people to push CFIP. What scares me now, though, is you guys are taking the bull by the horns because the government's giving us the short shaft.
Pretty much.
They've cut back everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we're not seeing the stockings like we used to. They're talking about shutting down Ringwood, and that's another horror story altogether where the OFH is going to get involved. But we've got hatcheries that shouldn't be shut down, and if you've got a river like the Credit, it should be stocked properly.
That's right. We do this ultimately in the interim until we can develop a program where these steelhead have access to the upper watershed. I think once we get to that point, Mother Nature will do much better than what any club can do, but we've got to do this because the government just won't
not
do
doing
it.
And you know, even if it is natural reproduction, if the government keeps knocking the number of COs down,
That's right.
the wild fish aren't going to live in the river because the poachers are going to get them because there's no water cops out there to stop the poachers.
Listen, Darryl, I'm petrified over the CO issue. You know, the Arundel Park on the Credit River is probably in the top 3 or 4 most fish destinations in this province, in particular with salmonids, and I'm scared. You know, I'm not going to see anyone.
The whole situation's scary. How many fish are you raising?
Oh, probably about 60,000 this year.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Darryl.
Let's go fishing. Because if it wasn't for clubs like this, I'm dead serious, especially in Ontario, Ministry of Natural Resources is letting the anglers down.
That's right. We've got to thank you for all the beginning groundwork that you did for us all.
Too old, been there, done that. Let's go fishing.
And now for the Montana's Cookhouse tip of the week. Magnificent salmon fishing can be found all along the Lake Ontario shoreline, everywhere from Toronto right around to Port Dalhousie.
Looks like we've got a jumper this time.
You know what? You got a bow there, my friend. That thing came out of the water 4 times before we could turn the camera on. You know, you got a variety of fish out here. You got rainbow trout, you got Chinook salmon,
Right.
you got coho salmon, you got brown trout, and you'll get the odd lake trout out here, too.
Well, this time we've got a rainbow.
But there's a lot. Nice rainbow. Nice. Look at this guy jump.
We'll get him close to the boat and see what he does.
Now, these fish are spawning on both sides of the border. The Americans have got a real good run of steelhead, and then we've got real good runs in the Ganaraska and places like that.
There's another line.
Nice fish.
Well done, Colin.
You know what? That's pretty good network, eh? You know, Nils, you can come out here some days. Like, we're a long ways out, and they've got one they call the weather marker. You can come out here and catch upwards of, 15, 20 of these in a day.
There you go.
I don't want to get a hook on me, but nice and bright, eh? Prime, eh? Nice fish.
Hard to believe they're right here in Lake Ontario.
You know, again, we're probably, another one. You take that one. I was about to say, there's a lot of fish out here. Now, there we go. Downtown Toronto fishing, Mr. Kravis.
All of a sudden, it's a busy afternoon.
And again, people don't realize that fishery is out here. It's world class. It's only a few minutes from Port Credit. It's only a few minutes from the, what do you call that big tower in Toronto?
The CN Tower,
The CN Tower, right over here. The fishing is phenomenal out here. A little bigger?
This one seems to be a little bit bigger.
I'm gonna put that steelhead down. You know what? I think you got another steelhead, though. I could be wrong.
The
I just saw him jump out there. Nice fish. There he is. Yeah. Deep bellies on these fish. Just amazing how many fish are out here. You know? Another rainbow.
Another one.
Yep. Another steelhead. You know, if you look at these fish, they are chromers, eh?
Yeah, no,
Bright looking fish and strong fish. I mean, these rainbow trout out here, they're feeding closer to the surface. The Chinook are usually deeper down, right? And when they smack a lure, I mean, that guy's really taking that lure. But look at how chrome bright these fish are. Congratulations, buddy. You got to go back to work this afternoon.
Absolutely.
Here at Going Fishing, we seem to continually applaud the efforts of volunteer sport fishing clubs and individuals who spend thousands of man-hours rearing fish and improving the environment that our game live in. Here's a special tip of the hat for the boys from Victoria, BC, who annually operate and participate in the Juan de Fuca Salmon Derby, out from the shores of Sook, British Columbia. For the past 20 years, these dedicated anglers have staged an event that's more fun than competition, even though this past year the winners voted off with more than $40,000 in cash. This spectacular wraps up with a grand banquet with food and beverages and a good time for all. Even more important, all proceeds go to the improvement of the local saltwater fishery. Funds raised are donated to the Pacific Salmon Foundation, who in turn direct most of the dollars to the Sook Salmon Enhancement Society. The final reward, millions of Chinook, coho, and steelhead destined for the waters of British Columbia's Pacific coast.
Captain Wayne Andrews. How long do we go back? Now, just think about this. I lived in Burlington on the lakeshore, and you've been guiding how many years? Because I saw you the first year. 31. You're getting old.
I am old.
An old fart.
60 years old.
I'll tell you what, I remember the first time I saw you, I lived on the lakeshore in Burlington. You had about a 27-foot Starcraft.
24.
24, it's not bad for 30 years today.
Yeah.
Orangish yellow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yellowish.
You were number 1 or number 2 of the startup charter boaters.
Yeah. I think I'm the oldest now as far as I know.
Longest surviving, longest working charter boat operator. Yeah. Before I go any farther, if you get the opportunity or if you get the chance, don't pass up this fishery out here. This is in Port Credit. We were anywhere from a mile to 12 miles out today. We only went out for 4 hours. We got a 30-pound Chinook. We got 4 other small Chinook and 4 other real nice rainbow trout. This guy has got an operation that you really want to take advantage of. Again, it's in Port Credit. Now, it has been 30 years. I see in your hand here, that's an Ambassador 7000.
That's true. We've been using this for years.
You know,
not always the same ones, but we get new ones every 2-3 years.
Now, you don't want to tell people you use reels that are 50 years old.
No.
And there's a new one, and it's got the line counter on it. We're going to talk about the line counter in a minute. Wayne, I noticed that you're using a lot of flashers out there, right?
That's true.
And it's an Okie and a lot of Mylar flies.
That's true.
You know, what gives with this? We're going back to what we used 30 years ago.
Only they're a little more colorful, and they glisten in the dark, and they work.
Now, Wayne, it's kind of funny. We've got a set pattern. You've got a spread out there. You've got the downriggers, and on the inside, and then you've got the dipsy divers, dipsies, I guess we can call them now, divers, right? And the idea is the downriggers are controlled depth fishing. It's right below the boat, but the dipsies get your lures not only down but away from the boat. It's hot, eh?
That's true. They work.
You know, now.
And then we didn't talk about our lead core.
And the lead core, the
which
big one
caught
came
the-
on lead core.
Caught the big fish today.
You know, so you're looking at 3 different ways. You're looking at downriggers, you're looking at dipsees. I'm going to say dipsees in a minute for a reason. And you're looking at lead core. And the lead core gets it way back, but gets it down. Now, we mentioned the counter on the reels now. And this has really taken place in the last, I would say 5 years, really strong on the Great Lakes. The guys are using these, and I want to say dipsees, but anyways, this is Walker's new diving planer, right?
That's correct.
And it's got, if you notice, it's got a lead weight on the bottom of it, and it clicks across, right? And you can put it to either direction. So if you're on one side of the boat and you set that lead weight, it causes that dipsee
To go left or right.
to go left or right, and it takes it down and out and away from your boat,
correct.
right? Then you can run a spoon behind this, or you can get the bigger divers, right?
Yeah.
And you can run your big flashers and everything else.
That's right. That's why this is so important with using a
Counter?
on a reel, because you can go back 70 feet or 70 feet down or whatever you want to do, and wherever the fish are, that's where you're going to get them.
If you're getting the fish at 80 feet right now, you may only be down 45 feet with the diver, right? But then you catch that fish at 80, well, you just tune it in, you go back down to 80 the next time.
That's right.
Listen, buddy, I got to thank you.
Okay.
Two old
Pleasure.
dogs. 2 old dogs.
Pleasure doing it again for you, Darryl.
I phoned this guy up and said, come on, let's go fishing. I need a show real quick. And I know if I really want to catch fish on the Great Lakes, I call one of the longest serving, I'm not going to use the word old because we're both getting there, one of the longest serving charter boat operators. Wayne,
Pleasure again.
thank you. Costa Rica next, buddy.
That's it.
Going Fishing returns with the Napoleon Barbecue's Shore Lunch.
You know, I think I've already said that Wayne is one of the longest serving charter boat skippers on the Great Lakes, right?
That's correct.
It's been a few years.
Yes.
Wayne, they wouldn't let me bring my Napoleon down with me.
That's too bad.
That's too bad. You can't do a shore lunch in downtown Port Credit. So we're so close to the fishery and so close to the city, right? Why not eat at Montana's?
Why not?
What would you like?
Well, I like the ribs. The ribs are excellent here.
I got a better idea for you today. Wayne, this is called Jack Daniel's Maple Glazed Salmon. And again, it's wild Pacific
Wow,
salmon.
this looks great.
Isn't that nice?
Boy, I can hardly wait to try this. Thank you.
I usually use my fingers, but I don't think so this time.
No, it's not tooth.
Phenomenal. Listen, if you get the chance, don't pass up the opportunity to experience that phenomenal Great Lakes salmon fishing just out from the shores of Port Credit, Ontario, with my good buddy, Wayne Andrew.
Thanks, Darryl. Let's eat.
For more information on today's fishing location and other Going Fishing destinations, visit www.goingfishingtv.com. Going Fishing with Darryl Choronzey has been brought to you in part by Yamaha, Abu Garcia, Montana's Cookhouse, and Berkeley.
Going fishing.
Going Fishing would like to thank the following fine sponsors.
Baby smiling my way